welcome back to Bible Study with Gifted. Yay! It's been a very long time. Thank you for following, for subscribing, for sharing, and for watching. Thank you very much. So, once again, welcome back to Bible Study with Gifted. And our topic today is the fear of God. So, what comes to mind first? When you hear that, the fear of God, what comes to mind? Of course, what comes to mind first for me initially was you need to be scared of God, you need to fear God. You know, God is God. But then, that's not really what the fear of God means. It's not all fear that is negative. They have a positive kind of fear. Yes. So, for instance, you don't need to jump into a lion. If you say lion, you run. That's a good kind of fear to preserve you so that lion will not kill you or jump on you. Yeah, that's a good kind of fear. But the kind of fear we're talking about God is not being scared of God. No. I wrote down some things. The definition of the fear of God. I wrote down to be terrified of being away from God. That is the kind of fear we're talking about. You are scared of not always being in God's presence. You are scared of the presence of God not being with you every time. So to fear God is to be in awe of Him. To be in awe of Him is to honor Him, to tremble at His feet, to revere Him, to esteem Him, to respect, value, venerate Him more than anything or anyone else. That is the kind of fear we are talking about, where you reverence God. The fear of God is not for you to be scared of Him, but those that are with sin are scared of God because you know God is holy. And according to Exodus 20:20, it says, "And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for God is come to prove you, that His fear may be before your faces, and that you see not." You all know how Moses led the people of Israel out of Egypt, and when they left Egypt, they had to settle down in wilderness, and God wanted to test if they still have the fear of God, that if they still reverence Him, if they are still in awe of His presence. So not the fear. So when God came down in the clouds, they were now scared of Him. So they now went back and asked Moses to talk to God. If not, that they will die if they talk to God directly. So that's because they still have that sin in them. But what God wanted initially was for everybody to be a priest, was for them to talk to God one-on-one. But because of that sin, they could not. So they were not scared of God. But that's where Moses is now saying that fear not. He's not telling them not to fear. That God has come to check if the fear of God. Are you seeing, like as if it wants to contradict, but no, it's not contradicting. Fear not. That don't fear God. But God has come to see if the fear of God is upon you. If you revere Him, if you value Him, if you take Him, like esteem Him, if you honor Him and the likes of it. So that's the kind of fear we are talking about today. And if you see in most churches today, in our church in recent times, the fear of God is no longer there. The fear of God. You could see a child of God leaving the church. You are coming to church the next day, and then you went to sleep in a man's house. The benefits of the fear of God is enormous. We cannot exhaust it. It gives us wisdom and understanding. The fear of God brings about long and fruitful life. It brings about comfort from the spirit. It repels evil. There are things that are happening and we don't know, and then the fear of God helps us to repel evil, even without us being conscious of it. It triggers the desire for a righteous living. So the fear of God helps you. You already know you fear God and you want the presence of God to always be with you. You don't want to do what will repel the presence of God away. So automatically you start living right. You'll be living right through the fear. You see in recent times and in our churches, you see that we lack the fear of God. Most of us lack the fear of God. We will come to church and the message is going on and we are talking. They are worshiping. Instead of you to worship God, your hands are folded. You are looking at who is ministering. You are talking. You are just being distracted. I remember when we used to go to church that time in my church. Before you go, you will genuflect. And then you go solemnly to sit. And then if you are in church, you will just have that churchy behavior in you. But now it's not religiosity anyways. But then I think when it started, it was the fear of God that made people to act such kind of way. But now we just take it as religiosity. But that is what the devil is trying to do, to make things that seems as the fear of God to look religious. But God is trying to tell us that we should bring back the fear of God. We should reverence Him. I was listening to a message about the fear of God, and he said that when he went to preach, a lady came to him and offered to sleep with him and all. He said that at that point in time, he did not even remember that he was married. That what he remembered was that he was scared of God. He had the fear of God. And he could not do that. Also remember Joseph in the Bible when Potiphar's wife said, "Come and sleep with me." He said, "How will I do such wickedness to God and to my master?" So they had the fear of God. But nowadays, you see men of God in courts sleeping around. You see us doing things that does not bring what God really have for us. If you reverence God, if you love God, if you place him on high esteem, you will love what he loves, and also you will hate what he hates. The devil knows all of this. That's why he's trying to make us not to fear God. God will not always show up in a place that he's not held in higher esteem. One of the ways to know that you fear God is to tremble at his presence. He's there with you everywhere, both in the secret, in the open. So automatically you will do what he wants, you will do what he loves, you will hate what he hates. So anywhere you are, you know that you have the consciousness of the presence of God. So automatically you will always do what you want, because you don't want that his presence to leave you. And then another thing is to tremble at his word. What it means to tremble at his word is to obey him, to say yes to everything he wants you to do. So even to obey him when it does not make sense, obey him when his word hurts, obey him when there is no benefit. Some of us worship God or are close to God because of the benefits we think we would have. Automatically there is benefit in serving God, but that should not be at the forefront. The thing is, serve God and every other thing will be added unto you. He did not say every other thing will be added unto you for you to serve God. No. I've come to realize that everything God said we should do is for our good, not for his good. If we serve God, if don't serve God, he still remains God. If tremble at his feet or not, if fear him, he is still God. So I've come to realize that anytime God says, let's do this, do not do this, it's for our benefit. So the earlier we start doing what he wants us to do, the better for us. So why should we fear God? One of the reasons that because he requires of it. According to Deuteronomy 13:4, it says, "Ye shall walk after the Lord your God and fear him, and keep his commands, and obey his voice, and you shall serve him and cleave unto him." God commands that we fear him. God commands that we tremble at his presence. God commands that we revere him. Of course, you need to even revere him, even without us being commanded of it, because you were created. Something or somebody created you. Are you not supposed to be scared of your manufacturer? And then there are some things we'll think about and you don't have answers to. And God has answers to that. You are supposed to naturally be scared of you. So we should reverence God. We should fear God because he commanded it. And also, is the beginning of knowledge. The fear of God brings about knowledge. We can find that in Proverbs 1:7. There's no time, so we'll not read through. You can also say it makes us wise. Proverbs 9:10. The fear of God makes us. Anybody that is wise outside God is not wise enough. It's considered as a fool. Yes, it's in the Bible. Proverbs 9:10. Okay. It keeps us away from evil. That's you can see it in Proverbs 16:6. It keeps us away from evil. And then, so Proverbs 3:7-8, it gives us health. See what it said. Proverbs 3:7-8 says, "Be not wise in thy own eyes, fear the Lord and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones." So the fear of God brings about health in our lives. If you fear God, you'll be healthy in your body. Yes. And also Proverbs 14:26, confidence. There is this sense of confidence when you fear God. Of course, God is with you. Then Psalm 145 verse 19. God will fulfill the desires of our hearts. So when you have time, you could go and study all of these things. Psalm 34 verse 7, divine protection. You see, the fear of God brings about all of this. So we need the fear of God even in the body. We need the fear of God in the church. In summary, you can still love God, you can still love Jesus and not fear him. It is the fear of God that constrains us from sinning. It is the fear of God that constrains us from doing that thing he hates. So it's the fear of God that helps us to live a righteous kind of life. And the body of Christ needs to start consciously and intentionally start bringing about the fear of God. Because nowadays we don't fear God anymore. You will see we'll preach on the altar, we'll say we are Christians, and then we'll do the opposite of what God will want us to do. To learn how to fear God, we should reverence him, we should exalt him, we should lift him in highest esteem, we should learn how to yield to him, we should learn how to surrender totally to him. We should tremble at his presence. We should obey his word. God is a holy God. And if we are serving him, we need to serve him in truth and in spirit. We need to be holy.